Okay, the repair model and the repair workshops. Really excited about this stuff. So let me try and give you a 2 minutes or less rundown on what we do in the workshops. The repair model is basically a process of 6 guidelines of what needs to be present in order to have the greatest opportunity to affect long-term change in people's lives. And we're talking about people, particularly children who have experienced early life trauma, early life neglect or abuse, or have been through some other adversity like a long-term illness, or who have neurodevelopmental deficits as a result of other factors. And that could be, for example, children with autistic spectrum disorders, and it could be children that we see with learning or behavioural issues, or children with things like sensory integration or other processing disorders as well. We found the program working very, very well, or the concept working very, very well with those children. It's also being used quite a bit now in adult survivors of those kinds of experiences, and that's exciting too, because often when people get into adulthood they get sort of left behind a little bit, and we go into almost a palliative care mode, but we're seeing some fantastic changes even in relatively older adults who have had 30, 40, 50 years of the impact of severe early life adversity. So that, for me, is very, very exciting. Key principles we use is neurosequential development and intervention, and that simply means that the brain develops from the bottom up and the inside out. So that's from the brain stem through the diencephalon cerebellum up to the limbic system and then to the cortex. So when we're doing interventions, we need to model that. So we need to start with the lowest order deficits that we identify first, work with those, and then work our way up the hierarchy of the brain in developmental order to strengthen things in the same way that we would build a high-rise building. We start with the foundations and build on that scaffolding and move our way up. So that's really the core of what we're talking about. To do that, we use 2 things. Use-dependent development, which is simply the same principles we use when you go to the gym, use it or lose it. So we want to activate areas in the brain we want to strengthen, we want to dampen areas in the brain that we don't want to have as strong, we want to prune them back, and then we want to actually activate all areas of the brain in totality, so we can start to link up and balance and integrate functional links and functional regions in the brain. So that's the use-dependent development. And all of that works on neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is simply the idea that the brain adapts based on its patterns of activation. So whatever we activate regularly in the brain will adapt to make it easier for those regions to continually activate. So they're the principles that we work on. The workshop itself is great, it's great fun, a lot of information packed into a day, so you get a lot of the background information of the neurobiology of trauma and the effects and so forth, but we also talk quite a bit about assessment strategies, so you can actually identify these issues in a very basic way, but giving you information that's very usable that you can walk away with at the end of the day and start using immediately, and some very basic intervention ideas and activities that go with that, likewise that you can go away and start playing with straight away with clients to have a feel for it and see how it works for you. So I'm excited, it's great, we've got so many people coming along, I can't wait to get into this next round of the workshops.